Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, professionals, learners, all of you who are taking the CIMA Strategic Case Study exam in May and August 2022. This video is pertaining to the pre-scene, but before I get started, a quick and gentle reminder to any of you who are absorbing my content in various forms and means. If you want to engage with the CIMA SCS with AZB Coaching Program, you can always visit the website www.cimascs.com and learn all about the different methods and ways of engaging with the program, in addition to getting access to useful, very critical, helpful content that will help you pave the way or shape the way in the right course. In addition to that, I would like to also remind you that the YouTube playlist, the official YouTube playlist for the specially self-study student, self-study learner is available for you on YouTube. The link is available for both the website and the playlist in the description section. On that note, let's get started with the main discussion today, which is the pre-scene or pre-scenes introduction to Snakwheel. And this time, I'm going to make a slight change. Instead of the general 3-part approach, I'm going to make it a 5-part approach. We're going to look at the pre-scene in 5 different angles, in 5 different segments. Think of it like a pie chart of 5 different separations, which we will tick one by one. And the initial segment is this one, which will be an introduction to the company called Snakwheel, which is the assigned company. Let's get started. You know that you're a senior manager in Snakwheel's finance function, and you report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. Now, in that interest, the first snapshot that you're going to see in this document, if you have access to it, if you are part of the program, is the share price chart. And a slight difference that we note this time is that you don't have a 5-year chart. Normally it's 5 years, but we do have somewhat of a 2-year chart from 2020, 1st December 2022, 1st of March 2022. So just a couple of years. But it will not have a major or significant impact other than just trying to understand what you can learn from the trend, which we will be deeply looking at in a more closer lens in the financial analysis segment. All right, so let's start learning about Snakwheel. Firstly, we are going to introduce ourselves to the company. Snakwheel is a quoted company in the Westarian stock exchange with a beta of 0.7, and we will look at the beta more closely in the financial analysis segment. But for now, you know that the 0.7 reflects a lesser in relation to the market. It indicates of a lesser risk stock, right? The risk of Snakwheel as a stock perceived by investors is generally lesser than the market risk. That's what the 0.7 points to us. Snakwheel facilitates home deliveries on behalf of fast food companies across its home country. Consumers can order food by app or through Snakwheel's website. So the moment we hear that, I think what should come to your mind is companies like Uber Eats, Deliveroo, DoorDash, Just Eat, etc. Right? Any food delivery, purely food delivery outlet or food delivery company that you have in your respective countries. Snakwheel is based in West Area, in which the currency is the W dollar, a developed country that has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. It requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with international financial reporting standards. Now, the important thing at this juncture that I want to highlight is that Snakwheel is not a multinational corporation. Snakwheel is a local entity. It's only based in West Area. And we time and time again, we see companies like that propping up in the pre-scene. Usually, the pre-scene has a tendency to focus on multinational corporations. But the last time we saw international operations is local operations like Snakwheel that is confined to one market, one country is KCTP, which was a science and technology park company. This was a few sessions ago. So at this point, here again, we are with another company that is locally based, and it's important because it draws a certain boundary in your questions, because the questions can be quite centric to a local market. and not necessarily span across borders, span across international waters, and impacts that such a business usually faces. Snakwheel was launched as Westaria's first major home delivery platform in 2007. So it was the first platform, first mover advantage. The company was quoted on the stock exchange in 2016. So within less than a decade, the company has been listed, and it is Westaria's largest fast food delivery platform. It is the largest, it is the first mover, it has significant advantage over other players, and has set a certain benchmark and holds a strong position in the market. Snakwheel currently serves 12,000 outlets, that is branches of restaurant chains and bakery shops, 190 separate catchment areas covering every town and city in West Area. So 190 catchment areas, perhaps chains often have multiple branches in town and city centers, and so Snakwheel does not have to serve every branch located within each of its catchment areas. That's the thing. So they refer to catchment areas in terms of how you would divide a country into perhaps states or provinces or districts. So you basically divide your operation into these catchment areas, and in that catchment area you deploy your resources in a way that your resources are managed well. So even if you have a Burger King outlet, which is, you have about 5 outlets which are in close proximity, and you manage the deliveries in such a way that you don't always have to service all the 5 outlets. If 3 is sufficient for you to fulfill the capacity of the demand, then you manage with 3. That's the idea they communicate here. 23 dark kitchen facilities which accommodate a total of 68 separate dark kitchens operated by various fast food chains. So in West Area, 23 facilities in which there are 68 dark kitchens. We learnt about what dark kitchens were in the industry analysis document. All right, how did Snakwheel come to be? The founders' thinking initially was that they were keen to exploit the complementary growth in both online shopping and consumer demand for fast food. Both of those trends were particularly associated with the same demographic, namely younger consumers. And so a website that offered immediate delivery of fast food was likely to succeed. That's the thinking, that's the rationale that the founders initially started this company in 2007 with, where the internet was becoming more popular, websites were becoming more and more prominent, younger consumers were starting to use websites. You remember 2007, 2008, that was relatively the time period when Facebook was becoming this global hit, and it was entering all over the country. Even locally in Asia, we see that. We see that in all aspects, all areas of the world, all sorts of continents. When you trace back internet history, 2007, 2010 is that era where the boom suddenly occurred. And keyword, younger consumers. So there is a certain attraction of younger consumers to Snakwheel and to this industry, possibly because they are used more with digital engagement, and they use mobile phones, smartphones, internet, laptops, etc. Snakwheel's mission, and their mission is to enable consumers to buy West Area's best fast food without leaving their homes or workplaces. So it's a very straightforward mission statement. Enable consumers to buy best fast food without leaving their homes or workplace. Very clear, very straightforward, to the point, very strong mission statement, if you ask me. Snakwheel's core values. So they say that firstly, they are customers come first. Snakwheel's customers trust the company to deliver delicious fast food quickly and safely. We make life simple. That's the second one. Snakwheel's customers can use a single app in order to order their favorite items from their preferred restaurants. Even if they want to order from 5 restaurants at the same time, they can do it from a single app, single entry, single browsing, right? Single engagement. We are team players. Snakwheel works closely with restaurant chains to create sustainable value for their stakeholders and for us. So things to pay attention to, because you always have to match the information that you're getting about the company with the values they have, right? And to always question yourself if the values and if the operation, if the way they operate matches or if there are any gaps. That's always a good way to think about the values, which will also give you a better understanding of the company. We make things happen, the fourth value. Snakwheel has grown steadily since its creation. We are constantly improving our service and attracting new customers. So you make things happen. They mean that they're growing. We take care of our employees. Snakwheel provides challenging and secure employment. So an employee perspective is provided in the core values, which is a good thing always. We create opportunity. Snakwheel offers an environment in which the independent contractors who deliver for us can flourish as individuals and work at a pace that suits their needs. So there are additional opportunities even for independent contractors, which is a big segment. We will come across them later on, where they can flourish as individuals and work at a place. So customers come first, life is made simple, team players, we make things happen, we take care of our employees, and we create opportunity. These are the 6 values of the company that you are a senior manager finance at. Next, we can look at the board of directors currently. The current board of directors as at 2022, as at the moment that you're getting the pre-scene and you're facing the exam, you are led by a board which I felt is very, very effective, very strong. You have Ahmed Farah sitting as the CEO who leads the executive team. Farah joined as a senior programmer, instrumental in a major update to the software of the company. That can be a huge plus point for anyone to get highlighted in the company, because the company is a software company, right? End of the day. And has acted as the head of data center and CIO in 2014 and 2016 respectively. So these are very, very strong evidences and strong track record for someone to sit as a CEO currently. This is someone who knows this company inside out, knows software, understands the data management aspect really well. I think that's one of the biggest strengths that the company has. Eleni Sakelariou, which is or who is the COO, is in charge of order fulfillment and human relations, has previous experience with a fast food company in logistics, and joined Snakwheel as head of fulfillment. Then you have Peter Fordia. This is your immediate supervisor, or this is who you are reporting to. Most of the emails and most of the requests that you are supposed to get are very likely to come from Peter Fordia. The other 2 individuals we generally have seen historically in the SCS that are writing to the senior manager finance is sometimes the chairman writes to you, sometimes the CEO, Ahmed Farah will write to you. So Peter is in charge of financial reporting and management accounting. He's a qualified accountant and has internal audit experience as well. Then you have the chief marketing officer or the marketing director, Rashida Tal. Advertising and relationships with restaurants are perhaps very important areas. You need to advertise when you are a mobile application. Advertising plays a big role. If not, and you have to keep the engagement in such a way that the users keep coming back to it. So it's a huge aspect. And relationships with restaurants as well, because they are the fundamental stakeholder. If the food is bad, then your app is not going to do well. So you have to maintain a very strong, a very amicable relationship with your restaurants. Rashida has background in retail marketing and several senior roles in marketing, including head of promotions at a major supermarket has been held. That brings me to Joe Williams, the final executive team member, the CIO, Chief Information Officer, IT operations and data management. Very, very critical. When you look at the pre-scene has a huge portion dedicated to IT and Snakwheel's IT systems, the data center, etc. So IT is a huge aspect in this company, who Joe Williams which Joe Williams is leading. And Joe has held many senior IT roles, including head of software with a major mobile manufacturer, and has joined Snakwheel as head of IT security. That brings me to the non-executive team. So we have 4 members, a 4-member team with including the chairman, Esma Asil, Yu Tsai, Vladimir Rezun, and Eliana Nakano. These are the 4 members. Esma is the chairman, has had a long and distinguished banking career, serves on the board of 2 major charities. Yu has had a long career in West Area Rail and still continues to advise the West Arian government on public transport. Volodymyr Rizun has served on the board of a major retailer, and Eliana has extensive experience in the leisure industry and is an ex-finance director in a major cruise line. So if you look at the members, you basically have members sitting in all the 4 committees: audit, remuneration, nomination, and risk. All the 4 committees are represented among these 4 members. And what you can easily remember is that in every committee, there are 3 members. In every committee, there are 3 members. And the next thing to easily remember is that the chairman is sitting in the audit, remuneration, and nomination committee. Then you know that the chairman is not in the risk committee, and all the other committees, or rather all the committees, have 3 members. That's the easiest ways to remember. And also to prompt you to ask certain questions with regards to corporate governance. Can this person sit in that committee? How does that work? Would it be beneficial for this person to sit in this committee, etc.? Which you can do in the strategic analysis. That brings me to Snackwheels Couriers. So these are the most important employee category that Snakwheel has, other than the in-house team. But you don't really need a lot of people to manage the application end of it, right? A few software engineers, data maintenance, data management, hardware aspect. So you can have a team of, a couple hundreds maybe. But these people, the couriers, make up the bulk of the employee base. And Snakwheel has 3,000 full-time employees as couriers and 23,000 independent contractors as couriers. All couriers, whether they are full-time or independent, are evaluated on the basis of factors like feedback received from customers and the number of deliveries made during a shift or work period. The full-time couriers, they are based in 6 major cities, and they start work in time for breakfast deliveries on weekday mornings, and they finish in the late afternoon. So 6 major cities, perhaps not all the areas, the full-time employment. Most of their time is spent on workplace deliveries to city center addresses. And let's take a look at their workflow. How do they work? They log in through the app on their smartphones at the start of their shift. Then they log out of the system at the end of their shifts. So logging in, logging out. That's the beginning and the end of their cycle or shift. The app, when they log in, confirms that they are within their designated areas of operation. First, that is confirmed. Then each courier receives details of the first assignment, which basically involves collecting the order and delivering it to the customer's address. You can collect it either from a restaurant or a dark kitchen. And in the interests of efficiency, they may be allocated additional collections while they are on their way to a restaurant. So it may be that the maps can usually establish a pattern. They can predict the pathway that, or the road that the courier is taking, and if there's something that can be picked along the way, maybe the app puts that particular courier in charge of that particular collection or delivery. That enables them to make 2 or more collections from the same location and deliveries to addresses in the same neighborhood. The smartphone apps show each courier as occupied until all assigned deliveries have been made. So when they are in the occupied state, they don't get new jobs, new deliveries, new assignments. Then the cycle repeats itself with further assignments for the remainder of the day until the shift is ended and you log out of the application. So during this process, data, a huge amount of data, the 3 V's: velocity, veracity, variety, etc., of big data. So a huge amount of data are collected from the smartphone apps that enable Snakwheel to keep track of the distance traveled during each shift by each full-time courier. Snakwheel reimburses full-time couriers' expenses for the cost of using their own vehicles on the basis of a standard rate per kilometer. So they are reimbursed their expenses for the cost of using their vehicles, and that reimbursement is done on the basis of a standard rate. There's a fixed rate, a standard rate per kilometer. Let's take a look at the independent contractor. So they have a different profile, a slightly different profile of how they work for Snakwheel. They have a little more flexibility over their working hours. They can log in when they want, log out when they want. There is no particular shift involved here. Each is based in one of the cities or towns in which Snakwheel operates. Then the demand is managed how? They use their smartphone app to indicate the days and times that they wish to work. So you basically, if you're an independent contractor, you select the days, maybe for the next week. These are the days. Software at the data center matches the courier availability against forecast demand based on historical data. So the software does that using perhaps algorithms. We don't know, there is no concrete evidence to say that there is any kind of AI involved, but AI is an opportunity that you can explore. The systems adjust staffing levels by inviting couriers to change to different times or to work additional hours so that a satisfactory number of couriers is available at any given time. So the application takes care of that, or rather the software, the backend software, which has this particular algorithm to match, to analyze, etc., does that perfectly well. And couriers who demonstrate flexibility are given priority in future requests for time. And obviously, they are not employees, they're not full-time employees. And Snakwheel expects contractors to commit to at least 10 hours per week if they wish to remain eligible to work for the company. But, so there's a limit, at least 10 hours per week. But beyond this condition, they can work as many hours as per week as they wish. So you have a minimum limit. You have to fulfill a 10 hours per week if you want to stay on the payroll. Beyond that, you can work any number of hours. If you want, you can even work longer hours than full-time couriers. Contractors are expected to inform Snakwheel if they plan to take a holiday or will be absent, obviously. Snakwheel pays, or you pay the independent contractors a fixed fee for every delivery. The same fee is paid regardless of the time taken or the distance traveled. So this can be a pain point for the independent couriers. It can even prompt a different variant, an unseen, a particular question, independent couriers causing trouble, causing issues, etc. Snakwheel does not pay expenses, another pain point. So the contractors are expected to meet the cost of running their personal vehicles from their fee. But it's taken care of at registration, because only if you can manage, if you're willing to, you register with us. If not, please, this is not the place for you to work for. That can be the attitude that Snakwheel carries on this point. Independent contractors use the same app as full-time couriers. They log on at the beginning of their agreed work periods, and the system checks that they are in their assigned locations, just like how it checked if the full-time couriers are in their agreed locations. And the system allocates collections and deliveries in exactly the same way as for full-time employees, including attempts to enhance efficiency. So everything is similar. In terms of the application end, everything is similar in how it manages demand, how it manages the resources, how it communicates, the logging in, the logging out, etc. The only difference is that independent couriers have more flexibility. They can work long hours, they can work as they wish, with a minimum 10-hour per week limit that has to be met. And the other thing is that the payment, they get a fixed fee regardless of how long, what distance, what happens across the way, along the way, etc. Right? That's the current situation we have with couriers. So with that strong understanding, we move to the final sub segment of this particular first part of the pre-scene understanding video, which is Snakwheel's registered restaurant partners. And you'd be surprised. They're not like a company where you have, because we have Uber Eats here, or I have experience with DoorDash and Just Eat. And what happens is that, you have a lot of restaurant partners, right? Have a lot of them. But here we see a sense of exclusivity. And for a first mover, it's a little, different, but perhaps the Western geographics and the dynamics and the market perfectly, facilitates this kind of situation, and to maintain consistency and to provide, good high-end food, fast food to consumers consistently without any break. So there are 5 restaurant partners that you have to understand that they work with, and all 5 basically cover the different varieties, the main different dishes or varieties of fast food. So you have Taste Burger for burgers, you have Steam Pizza for pizza, you have Baguetto for sandwiches, you have Lusk Chicken for chicken, and you have Bonnigan's for bakery. These are the 5 restaurant partners we have. Let's take a look at each of them. Taste Burger looks like they are the biggest restaurant partner, the most important restaurant stakeholder they have, or Snakwheel has, or you have. Taste Burger is West Area's most popular burger chain, 4,400 branches across the country. So in that 190 catchment areas, you're servicing 4,400, or the practical number that is possible for you across the country. Largest and most profitable fast food chain in the country. The largest and the most profitable. So this speaks to their power, their market power, the important aspect of the relationship that we should be maintaining. Because they are the largest, they are most profitable. And we also see at the end, the point before the last, is that they are a large quoted company that has been at the forefront of developments in the fast food industry. So you basically have Snakwheel, which is a listed quoted entity, working with another restaurant partner, which is also a listed entity, right? So there are synergies to look at, there are benefits to look at, there are potential acquisition opportunities. You never know. Most towns have several Taste Burger restaurants, has a breakfast menu that includes pancakes, eggs, and coffee available from 6 a.m. until 11 a.m. each morning. Then they sell items from the main menu 11 a.m. onwards in the form of beef, chicken, fish, etc. So I think you can look at, or you can think of a company like McDonald's, right? If you want to benchmark this idea of Taste Burger, McDonald's would be the best example for you to think, or in retrospect, it would even be Burger King, right? Depending on where you are at. Also sells desserts and a range of hot drinks and cold soft drinks. Most restaurants are open from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. But a few remain open 24 hours every day. Right, I know this profile. Fits McDonald's really well. Taste Burger restaurants are generally busy at all times of day and night, but are particularly busy. So there are peak hours. Even if you don't have to remember the exact specific timings for each restaurant when they are at peak at, you can definitely remember that there are different peak hour segments. So here we have 6 to 9, 12 to 2, and 4 to 8 when customers are ordering breakfast, lunch, or evening meal. They are a large quoted company and they have been at the forefront of developments, as I said, which speaks to the kind of, that kind of sentence opens the path for different areas, different questions, different lines of thinking. What kind of developments have they been at the forefront? What kind of partnership does this allow between Snakwheel and Taste Burger, etc.? And they constantly experiment and look for ways to develop revenue streams. There we go. You have an ambitious, listed, large company working with Snakwheel. Then you have Steam Pizza, which is West Area's largest pizza restaurant with 2,400 branches, opens at 11:30 a.m. every day, closes at midnight, sells a wide variety of pizzas of different sizes. Customers can select from a range of popular topping combinations, or they can specify their own combination of toppings, each of which is priced on the menu. Also sells a range of cold soft drinks. They tend to be busy from 12 to 2, and that's lunch, and 6 to 10. It's evening and dinner. Perhaps you can think of a company like Joe's Pizza or Pizza Hut when you try to think of Steam Pizza. Baghetto, which is West Area's second largest sandwich chain with 3,200 branches. So mind you, the first largest sandwich chain possibly is working with Munch Bike, your competitor, closest competitor. Sells sandwiches made with freshly baked baguette rolls and various salads, cheeses, and meats. And mind you, I want to reiterate, I just guessed that the first largest sandwich chain, which is not mentioned in the pre-scene, might be working with Munch Bike, right? It's not mentioned anywhere. Only until you see in the unseen, don't get it as confirmed. The fact that the second is our partner means that the first is available. So just a guess. Also sells a range of hot drinks and cold soft drinks. Opens at 7, closes at 6. Their peak is 11 a.m. to 1, where customers are buying lunch, and 7 to 9, where customers are buying sandwiches for breakfast, but 7 to 9 a.m. The most focused, or most, the busiest time seems to be the lunch time, 11 to 1. So during breakfast, 7 to 9, customers buy toasters, sandwiches for breakfast to eat at work, or buying sandwiches to eat for lunch later in the day. Then you have Lust Chicken, which is again the second largest chain of fried chicken restaurants in West Area, which has 2,600 outlets. Kentucky Fried Chicken, that would be the best example to think of. This sells fried chicken pieces, usually accompanied with fries. Also sells desserts, hot drinks, and cold soft drinks. Opens at 11:30, closes at 10. Busy time is from 11:30 to 2, lunch, and 5 to 9, evening and dinner. Bonnigan's, which is a chain of bakery shops that sells sweet and savory products that can be eaten immediately or taken home. It has 3,400 shops, sells both hot pastries, including pasties and sausage rolls for immediate consumption. Also sells a range of ready-made sandwiches that are wrapped in plastic film. Also sells a wide range of cakes. So your run-of-the-mill bakery chain here. The shops open at 8 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. Food counters tend to be busy from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. with customers buying food for breakfast and wrapped sandwiches to eat during their lunch break at work. A second peak from 12 p.m. until 2 p.m. when customers buy pastries, sandwiches, and cakes for lunch. So you have two peak times. One is the breakfast 8 to 9 and the other is noon 12 to 2. And that marks, I believe, the end of the first part of the pre-scene analysis that we are looking at out of the 5 segments. So I'm hoping to see you in one of the future content elements, possibly the next one, which is the pre-scene part 2 or pre-scene understanding the company, Snakwheel part 2, where we will be looking at Snakwheel's IT system more closely. Until then, thank you very much and happy learning. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen.